And God said, "Let there be
The
light."
Lord says, "Let my people go."
I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me.
This is the Talkin' Bible podcast.
Well, hey folks, welcome to another week of episodes of Talkin' Bible with me, Rohan Bell. And we are beginning a new series today. These podcast episodes head into the week of Sunday, 1st of February. And in February at Anchor Point Church, we are doing a series called Living with Purpose, Putting God First. Living with Purpose, Putting God First. And so we're going to be talking over the course of this month about how to prioritize God. And of course, this time is very timely for us because we are, as an Anchor Point Church family, and you're invited, even if you're not part of the Anchor Point family, to join us. We are moving into 21 days of prayer and fasting, trusting God for direction for our church, for ourselves, and for the call of God, the ministry that God has placed on us at Anchor Point Church. But as I say, anyone is welcome to join us. And I want to talk sort of during the course of this week and really leading into it, the theme we're going to be talking about really is making sure that we're putting God first in every arena of our lives. And what does it mean to put God first? True peace, true clarity, true purpose comes when we seek first God's kingdom, when we prioritize the things of God. And today we're going to look at a passage from Mount Sinai, the 10 Commandments. We're going to just briefly touch on that and pull some thoughts out of that. But from then right through the Bible, there's always been a priority on prioritizing God's kingdom, prioritizing our relationship with the Lord, seeking Him first, and then everything else tends to fall into place after that. You know, I think that's a big deal in today's world because that is counter to the message the world sends us. The message constantly through our promotions and our advertising, you just scroll through social media, you'll see they're promoting things to you. It's always about what can you get, not what can you give, not what can you prioritize, but seeing yourself as priority. And that's the world's message. Prioritize yourself. Look after yourself. Look after number one. And when we do that, we'll be happy. Well, that doesn't work out that way. I mean, step back and think about that ultimately when we focus on ourselves, it tends to make us inward, it shrinks our world, and ultimately we end up losing the very thing, the peace and the clarity of life that we would have liked. And so the upside down kingdom of God is about prioritizing His kingdom first. And it's then that we truly discover clarity and joy and purpose. When we deny ourselves and live for Him, it's the upside down kingdom that we want to talk about today. And it's not about striving. Priority is not as that somehow we earn God's favor by ticking a box that says, God, you're first today. It's not that way. In fact, we're going to see it right now is that our prioritizing God flows from what God has already done for us. If we think I'm going to prioritize God and then God will be happy with me, we've got that the wrong way around. We've moved into works mentality where our actions determine our relationship with God. That's not how it's supposed to be. Our prioritizing of God is gratitude, to pick up what we talked about last week, focusing on gratitude. Our attitude towards God is focused on gratitude for what God has already done. God, you've already saved me. God, you've already delivered me. God, you've already provided this for me. Out of that gratitude, I want to put you first. You deserve to be first, not because you're an angry God that needs to be jealous and bitter towards me, but because of your extravagant love, I want to put you first. And so I just want to read some words from Exodus chapter 20, famous words, the 10 Commandments. It says, God gave the people all these instructions. Verse 1, I am the Lord your God who rescued you from the land of Egypt and the place of slavery. You must not have any gods before me. You must not make for yourself an idol of any kind or an image of anything in the heavens or on the earth or under the sea. You must not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am jealous God, who will not tolerate the affection of any other gods. And I lay the sins of the parents upon the children, and the entire family is affected, even to the third and fourth generation of those who reject me. But I lavish unfailing love for 1,000 generations on those who love me and obey my commands. Do not misuse the name of the Lord your God. The Lord will not let you go unpunished if you misuse His name. Remember to observe the Sabbath by keeping it holy. There's 6 days for ordinary work. On the seventh is a Sabbath day of rest dedicated to the Lord your God. Honor your mother and father. Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not falsely testify against your neighbor. Do not covet your neighbor's house. When the people heard the thunder and the loud blast of the ram's horn, when they saw the flashes of lightning and the smoke billowing from the mountain, and they stood at a distance and trembled with fear. And they said to Moses, "You go speak to this God. We want to you listen for us, but don't let God speak to us, or we will die." And Moses said, "Don't be afraid, for God has come this way to test you. God has come in this way to test you, so that your fear of Him will keep you from sinning." As the people stood at the distance, Moses approached the dark cloud where God was. So nowhere do I have enough time to go into all the 10 commandments, but suffice it to say a couple of points. First of all, this is not an angry, bitter God. This is a God who mentions that He loves them. He actually compares it. It might sound hard that He said He's a jealous God. Well, it doesn't mean jealous as in petty envy. That's not what it's talking about here. It's talking about God is jealous for us because He knows that He is best for us. He actually wants what's best for us, and He knows that what's best for us is that we put Him first, that we honor Him, that we thank Him, that we live in relationship with Him. So He's jealous for us with His love rather than jealous in a petty envy way as though He's egotistical and needs something from us. That's the reverse thing. And He says, hey, I punish those who turn against me to the 3rd and 4th generation. But the next verse, He compares it. He says, but I'm so loving that I extravagantly provide my love to 1,000 generations of those who love me. And you're supposed to see 3 and 4 and 1,000 and weigh that up. This is not an angry, bitter God. These Israelites had it wrong. They saw the cloud, they saw the fire, and they didn't understand that God was inviting them. He was, by that demonstration, He was showing them how powerful He was and how much He wanted to fight for them, not against them. And yet they misunderstood that. And they thought that God had to be feared in that sort of trembling kind of way, angry way. And that's not how God is revealing Himself. God is setting up these principles and saying, if you want to live a good life, live by these principles. And a couple of things I want to pull out. First of all, the 10 Commandments formed a covenant, a relationship. They were like the benchmark for God establishing this relationship with His people. And He says, I want you to have no other gods before me. And He was talking to a people who were surrounded by nations that had lots of gods who would oppress them, lots of gods who manipulated them and abused them. And God saying, I'm not like that. Actually, I'm jealous for you. I want you to experience the best. Put me first. Don't embark in relationship with some of those other gods that are around you. And note too that these commandments aren't saying do this and then I will bless you. As I said, this is a response to what God has already done. For I am the one who has already brought you out of Egypt. I have already brought you out. I've already delivered you. Therefore, I'm encouraging you, what's best for you is that you have no other gods, that you prioritize the kingdom way. Prioritizing, putting God first is the most important thing. So our obedience flows out of our understanding of God's salvation, not in order to get saved. So a couple of sort of things I want to talk about just briefly is having no other gods means putting Him first. Making no other idols, it says, no other idols in our image. In their days, they worshipped all kinds of religious statues and other abhorrent practices that were linked to their idolatry. But today is no different. I've talked about this many times in our podcast. The big three, sex, money, and power, are really the things that form idols. They were the things that formed idols in ancient times, and they're still the things that create idols in our world today. And God would say, don't put sex, money, or power before me because it will destroy you. Not because I'm petty and jealous that you're spending your money on something else. It's not that. God's saying if you will prioritize me and prioritize me over those other things, sex, money, and power, then you will live a blessed life. You will live a life that sees my best in your world. And that's what God is saying. So are these, as we close, are these laws binding, these 10 commandments? And there is pages written on that. Here's how I view it. Jesus fulfilled those 10 commandments, and yet that does not mean that we should not seek to live by them. And what I mean by that is I've talked about this multiple times on the podcast, drill down into all these 10 commandments and all the laws and go, what I call it the secret code, like the code hidden in the law. What is the context of the law? What does it mean? What can I observe about human nature? What is this law telling me about my own heart and the way I have a propensity towards evil and going my way? What can I discern about God's nature from this? And then how can I embody it? C.O.D.E. Context, observe, discern, and embody. How can I embody this law? And so Jesus does this. So he says, you've heard that it was said, do not murder. But I'm telling you, Actually, if you're angry with a brother, you have committed murder in your heart. He embodies it at a deeper level. And so I believe we should seek to reflect on these 10 commandments and see that there is a way, not that we tick a box by doing them, not that we fail if we don't. We will all fail and we need salvation. But if we're going to become like Christ, put him first, prioritize his kingdom, then I encourage you to reflect on these rules and have no other gods before God and ask God, hey, where are the idols in my world? Where is sex, money, and power? Where are these things getting in the way? I want to put you first, Lord. And if you do that, I believe that you're prioritizing God's kingdom. So identify the modern idols in your world. And remember, putting God first is a response to what God has already done, not in order to earn God's favor. All right, God bless you. Hope that helps. Talk to you on the next episode.